You're still seeing that on your screen, right? Mm-hmm. She's still seeing it. Welcome back to New Realities. As you see on your screen here is a flyer for the Ascension Tips with my guest today, Debra Giusti, a simple blueprint to support your Ascension Journey. This is version 2.1. Debra Giusti along with Meg Benedict and Camille Morris. And you can download this right now at ascensionnow.org. Welcome to the program, Debra Giusti. And Debra Giusti is a long time associate of me and New Realities. I'll just read a little bio. And for 45 years, she's really been, and I know personally, she's been on the cutting edge of this ever emerging, progressive, I would say, spiritual community that is creating a new paradigm of awakening. She's really the leader at the forefront of this mass global awakening that we're having. And this book she's just written, The Ascension Tips, is very much a part of her vision for this new planet. She also collaborated with me on this amazing series called Making Contact, The New Realities of UFOs, Disclosure and Cosmic Awakening. That's still available at makingcontactseries.com. She's doing so much to support this community. She has the major email list. She did the Harmony Festival for 30 years. I can't think of a more, if you were to be mayor of this new paradigm, it would be Debra Giusti. So thank you, Debra. And so let's talk about what this latest project with your Ascension Tips is all about. But before we talk about Ascension Tips, let's talk about what you mean about Ascension, because I know what I mean about it, but what's your understanding of what Ascension is?
Yes, Alan, so great to be with you here and talk about my favorite subject, which is Ascension. And really what we're doing is we're describing the accelerated spiritual process that's taking place within all life forms on the planet now during this specific cosmic evolutionary cycle. So what I've come to see, it's a step-by-step process that is initiated by spiritual awakening, and it results in up-leveling you into higher dimensional existence and quantum consciousness, which is the Ascension process. And this takes place through gradual healing and clearing of trauma and toxins while you activate the light body and you evolve into a higher fifth dimensional frequencies. You have a clear connection with your higher self and deep soul embodiment. And the outcome is living in a state of oneness in fifth dimensional reality. So that is the goal and the purpose that we're going towards.
And I love that you're focusing on that, because that is the goal and purpose of our, really what we came in here for. But is it happening to everyone? That's one thing I want to know. Is it a planetary thing? I guess we can assist in it, but it's just happening without our assistance, or is it more focused? That's what I really
This is happening everywhere. This is why we showed up right now at Showtime for this process. And it's happening again with all life forms. We're actually, and what I've done is I've studied with all the major Ascension teachers that are happening now, because this is my passion. I'm a connoisseur of the Ascension teachings, and also gone through my own personal process and distilled this. And what I hear everyone saying is that we're actually moving into a different sector of the universe that is a higher vibration that kicks in this next cycle that we're going into, the next cycle of the golden age and what we're creating as we up level. So everything is up leveling in a frequency and a vibration. And that's why we're here now, is to partake in this up leveling within ourselves, because we have the opportunity to increase and to evolve spiritually. So it's everything that's up leveling. And that's why we call it a planetary ascension. At other times, in the universe, like we focused on Christ's ascension, and everyone learned what that was. And different masters and teachers have spontaneously ascended here and there, like kind of like popcorn. But now popcorn is popping everywhere, and especially with what we just went through with the last 2 years, 3 years, and the shifts that are happening, and what we see taking place in the world, where everything that is dysfunctional is coming up to the surface to be dealt with, healed, revealed. And that is happening within ourselves. So the whole planet is going through this process. And as above, so below, we are going through it internally. Everything that is not of the higher level is coming up to be dealt with. And we are being inspired to go on this healing ascension process towards embodiment of the ascension now.
You know, my next usual question would be, so how do we get there? But now I realize you wrote a whole book about it, how we actually activate this planetary ascension and this individual ascension. So I know you broke down this book into 4 segments. Why don't we go through some of the tips? You don't have to give them all away, but it is a free download. And I'll put that link in the chat here. But let's outline the beginning phases for people that to know that they can do something to make this happen for them.
Definitely. And I wanted to share with you because I wanted to do this so that everyone can understand. Everyone is already going through this process. They feel a lot of transformation, a lot of changes, like what is going on? A lot of evolution. But to put it all together and have it clearly spelled out, people can understand. And this is nothing new. It's happening everywhere. You'll see these tips in the spiritual religions, in all kinds of practices, in personal growth. But this outlines from beginning of awakening to the end, which is the divine human in the new earth. And so what I've created is 88 tips in 4 different categories, made it really simple because these days things are so complex. Things have to be simple so people can just get it and kind of move forward with it. So the first tip is the awakening, because that's where people start. And so sometimes people just kind of wake up. Maybe it's just their time to realize they're in the box, they're in the matrix, and there's so much more outside of this programmed reality that we've been fed, and they start to see beyond the box and see beyond the matrix. So that's the awakening. Sometimes it happens really radically, like you'll have a near-death experience and people will just pop into a whole understanding that there's way more beyond this box that we've been given. Sometimes people go through other radical steps, like a near-death experience, where everything that they're attached to, that they love, that they want, falls away. And then what they're left with is connecting direct with spirit. And that begins their process. So the first level is the awakening on whatever level. And I want to share, the ascension is similar to everyone because it's the same process, and yet it's very different because it's very different for each person. Everyone takes their own spiritual journey and creates their own roadmap. So these are kind of road signs along the way. And the key is to connect with your higher self and start tuning into that inner guidance to reveal this incredible, mystical, magical tour that you're going to be on the Ascension Journey.
So why don't we get really practical, though? Because let's go through some specific steps so people can apply that directly to their lives. I mean, you don't have to give it all away, but I think there's some really good practical motions people can put in their lives to add to this ascension wave that's happening. So what do you suggest they?
Totally. So for the first stage, which is the awakening, first thing is you've got to be completely prepared for a total transformation of your life. So if you embrace the awakening, you say, Spirit, I'm on the path, bring it on, you got to be ready for it, because you might lose your job, your relationship might fall apart, you may feel like you have to move somewhere. And of course, this is all a matter of spirit up-leveling you to the next level. So whatever is not in the harmony of where you're going is going to fall away. And you just got to be ready for that and know and trust you're going to be guided to the next level that's going to be much better for you. The next relationship, the next living space, the next divine mission work instead of maybe just a job that you're not connected with. So be prepared for complete transformation.
I think that's really important for people to know, because they say they want spiritual awakening, and then, yeah, they lose their job and they, stuff comes up and they could resent that and hold back. But you're saying this is part of their unfolding. This is part of, so how do we know if we let go of everything to trust that? Can you help people with that trust?
Total trust. You learn this as you go, because if you just tune within and just have that trust and then be open. So if you allow yourself to go into a funk and you close down, you're not going to be open for the magical doorways that are around the corner. And of course, we're human. And if something happens that doesn't feel right, you should honor your emotions, but don't get stuck there. Start looking, okay, if I'm not going that way, then Spirit got another roadside for me. And it might be you go into Whole Foods, you go down the aisle and you just sharing with your friend, and all of a sudden your friend's starting a new business and they're looking for a partner and they were thinking of you and wow, do you want to join? So magic can happen everywhere. So being open to the magical moments and the signs and the synchronicity that are going to guide you to whatever your next reality is.
I have to say, because I know you pretty well, I think this sort of happened to you. You had an incredible business. Do you want to talk? I mean, if you don't mind being a little
Sure. I mean, I'm doing this because I've been through it all and I'm in the cooker big time. So yeah, I had a dark night of the soul that, I've always been spiritual. I started my spiritual awakening. It happened as a teenager, really, is when the 60s happened. And I opened up to all the spirituality, all the new information, all the new trends, healthy eating, spiritual teachers, environmental, all that, and started creating spiritual businesses and just like I do now, researched everything. But Spirit had another plan for me. And I went through a process where I lost everything that was important to me. I lost my marriage, which was the most ultimate relationship that I had. I lost my Harmony Festival, which was an outrageous business for 33 years, a music, arts, and consciousness festival that drew 30,000 people to Northern California every year. That was totally amazing. And I lost all the money I had created at that point, which was about $1 million. So I got down to nothing. So I kind of do things in big ways. So that was my big way of clearing whatever karma had about being attached to anything, and then starting from nothing and having to connect directly with Source on a really deep level for everything, and then building back my life piece by piece without being attached to anything. And even money, learning how to manifest without money and manifest what you need. So lots of lessons in that.
I'm so happy you share a really personal story, because when you're in that state where you lost everything, how can you tell people to deal with that and have faith? Because you lost, it wasn't just I lost everything and more. You must have went through a process, right?
Yeah, I definitely had my own incredible doubts, pain, insecurity. I told God, Goddess, okay, I want out, because people go through that. They don't want to play anymore, but I kept seeking within, and I worked with spiritual guides to really heal everything at that level. And then slowly started coming out of it. I knew it was complete. And then I had a really deep process with a dear friend of mine who's no longer here. Her name is Celestine Starr. And in that deep process, I had lost my mission, and I was wondering, what's my mission? Everything's been taken around. I love my mission. And at the very deep part of it, what came out of me was the word ascension. And this was in 2012, and I hadn't even heard of that yet, really. And so it was like, oh, ascension. So I went deep within, and what came out was that word, and that kind of cued me in to know that that was the path I was on. And that I think What I went through was deep karmic clearing of all levels, and then deep alignment to just be working and moving forward with source. And that was in 2012. And then here we are now, just building everything up and being on mission since then.
The faith in you and your spirit, you even though you were suffering, you lost, and that's horrible and hard. You had teachers that supported this, and then you started to go and feel the transformation. Is that something?
Yeah, it's step by step. So honor everything that's happening to you. Know that you are loved. Know that there's always a way out, and know that spirit will provide the step by step by step to your next level.
And so this planetary ascension that's happening, how is that different than individual ascensions that people are, like you did, working on yourself? So what is the planetary movement?
By planetary ascension, we mean that this is happening on a global level. So what's happening within us that we're talking about right now is not isolated to a few high-level spiritual people that are going to awakening, you know, who we call the gurus and the spiritual teachers and those few. This opportunity is available for everyone now. We are on accelerated pace. So people all over the world are awakening. They came here for these times. Their soul is remembering. They're waking up. You know, even the information that's available on the internet now is, you know, this kind of information used to have to go to mystery schools and go for years before you could get the information about the ascension and spiritual practices. Now you can reach your teacher on Zoom and go really deep and really accelerate very quickly. So everyone's waking up all around the world collectively. The more people wake up, the more people wake up, because we are in a unified field, and all this awakening supports everyone else. So those of us who have been around forever and took a while to kind of wake up and get with it, we helped everyone else that's now quickening and awakening more and more and more. So really, it's like I say, popcorn just popping in a stove. You know, few people pop, and then all of a sudden pop, 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 pop. And the more we unify and the more we connect and raise our consciousness, all this continues to move forward more and more as we go forward to being the divine human and co-creating the new earth. So that's where we're going.
Excited. Of course, I love what you're doing because we're part of a great, loving, supportive community that's global. And how can we connect more? I mean, what the people watching, they may be sitting home alone. What can they do to connect into this, you know, thing that we've created? But what do you suggest?
Well, that is part of the ascension process, that as you evolve forward, and we'll get more into the tips, you'll start to resonate with different new soul tribes, different groups of people, and they will come into your awareness, maybe on your email, maybe you'll see something on YouTube, but you go, wow, there's a resonance there with that group of people. I'm hearing what they're saying, what they're doing. I feel like I'm aligned with them. And then you've got to, again, act on the intuition that's going to be growing and evolving as you start to evolve your superpowers to another level and take action. So there are many groups now because of what's happened, and everyone's connected on the internet and on Zoom. There's so many opportunities. So just see what resonates and follow through and join groups, follow some people that are teaching, get into some gatherings, go on excursions to sacred sites, and start finding your new tribe, because everyone came in and incarnated together, and they're finding each other now because everyone supports each other as we go through this process.
Exactly. So let's go through some more ascension tips, because you put a lot of work into.
Yeah, so in the awakening, I'll just give a few more tips. Become aware that you are a multidimensional being, and we're all one. So get beyond just thinking you're this human suit here. Start to realize that you have many other realities and levels and energy bodies, and you're way more than we've been told in this just human body. And another important practice is to get out into nature and use Mother Earth as a spiritual teacher and healer. So this is important because she gives so much incredible energy, juice, insights. So really, you know, we're so conditioned to be on our devices and be in our cities and all those comforts. Get out in nature and be in the energetic field and let her teach you. And another real important thing is to cultivate an ongoing daily spiritual practice. So when you get into the awakening process, it's not like, well, I'll start meditating and now it kind of is boring, I'm not going to. It's, you know, you really need to be committed. Doing the meditation every day syncs you up with spirit and your guidance and puts you in that energetic field. And that's something that increases day by day as you continue to do it, because it's a process of raising your vibration and keeping it at a high level. So when you meditate every day, like I meditate first thing in the morning, very early, 4 a.m., when things are very peaceful and I can connect really easy right after my sleep. So that's a very important part.
Right, but also let's talk a little bit about what happens physiologically with the bodies. I mean, at least in my, where you start to feel a quickening, a vibration. I think connecting to nature is really key because nature is also ascending. Would you say that? Would you say that?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. And we're seeing that with like just more respect for the earth itself, I think. I mean, the earth needs us. And we need
totally. And what we're talking about is raising your vibration. So this is an actual alchemical process where your whole system is being, and consciousness and everything is being raised to a higher level. That's what allows access to perceive these multidimensional realities. And it is an alchemical process. In the embodiment tip, we're going to talk about DNA activation, but really that explains it, because as you know, we have the potential of 12 strand, but also 24, 48, and so on. And we come in having access to 2 or 3. And of course, the rest is called junk DNA. But what we know is that is the process of ascension. As you continue to activate those strands of DNA and have more and more access to perception, to superpowers, to abilities, to all of that. So truly, it is an alchemical process. And that's where all these steps that if you put into process, raising your vibration, eating in a healthy way, surrounding yourself with high level music and friends, and especially love, being in the love frequency is what tends to activate and get you more sustained with the DNA activation. So all of that helps.
I think the embodiment piece is really important on a DNA level. And that's because the earth is changing its vibratory rate. So the structure, like you said, is increasing its ability to hold a higher frequency. And do you think diet, you talk about lifestyle a little more, and like, I mean, being in nature, but is diet important or not?
Yeah, let's go into the next one, which is transmutation. And that's where the work really has to happen. And this is where the alchemical transformation happens. And so what we're talking about is a mass transformation of everything. And so working with your diet and your physical body is number one, because you have to have a healthy, strong vessel to hold this expanded spirit, ideally. And that includes, good food, ideally raw foods and vegan foods, but you got to kind of look and see what you need with your diet. Exercise, body, mind, spirit, make sure you take care of yourself in your retreat and just up level everything. And you will find as you go through the ascension process that your aging will start to reverse, because your cells and your body are starting to operate at such high level. You will look younger and younger as life starts to generate throughout your whole system. And then along with the physical health, you're going to go in and clean out emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And that is a really core part of the ascension process. So you're going to go into deep shadow work, identify your core wounds, because the core wounds is what hooks you up and pulls you down into a negative thought projection, or hooks you into limiting beliefs. And what we're talking about is creating a new human that has unlimited potential and unlimited superpowers. And if you're going to go manifest something, but then you stop short because you have this core limiting belief that holds you back, you need to understand that, deal with that, and get beyond that so that doesn't hook you and pull you down and make you think you can't really manifest at this level that you know your divine mission says that's what you're going to be doing. So there's a lot of processes that can help with that, whether it's shamanic work or psychological work, a lot of teachers. And again, you just allow yourself to be guided. You know, some teacher will show up in your life exactly for what you need to go through right now. And you just go for it. Just, you know, really claim this for yourself and go through some processes that can heal and clear and make you aware. So if that comes up, you don't buy into it. You don't think it's real. You go, oh, that again. Okay, goodbye. I'm going anyway. You know, that kind of thing.
I'm thinking this should really be a course. Like you should teach this 7-8 week course, maybe a guide. So, and because you have so much information, it's so important for people at this time that it's great to give them tips, but you know, I think you have enough of your own work to stand up there, right? And say,
this is only the beginning. And what this booklet is gonna become a book with descriptions and information on all of them, including resources, because I'm in contact with a lot of the Ascension teachers. And so I'm going to be able to share who they are and what they offer and how you can get connected with them. So yes, people can have all the resources right at their fingertips to easily journey on this process.
There's a question in the chat by Bohemian Rose. Do you have any tips for those of us grid workers who came to especially dense areas to increase the light in those dark areas more quickly?
Definitely. That's part of the tip in the transmutation. Not only are we clearing for ourselves, we're clearing for the planet. And there's many who know they came to be vehicles for clearing for the planet. And in terms of tips, it's just taking care of your own vehicle so you can hold as much light and be as clear of a channel as you can. So when you work with the grids and you work with all the ley lines and all of that, you can be a clear channel and tune in and understand all the guides that are there to help you do this. There's a lot of people doing this on the planet now, and it's really incredible. And people are being guided to work together and also work during times of incredible potent times on the planet, such as portals and equinoxes and eclipses, or like 11/11, and to go to sacred sites and do clearings. And a lot of people are even going to sites where there is so much dysfunction and and negativity on the planet, and doing spiritual clearings on that level. And you've got to keep yourself fortified and clear yourself. So yes.
I'm really happy about how much passion you have for this and how exciting and how this is, because I know when you put yourself behind something, you, Debra Giusti, things happen, things wake up, because you're that kind of leader and dedication, and your passion is in your work. So people are going through it. Is there like a timeline though? Is there like a deadline? Is there a place where, you know, this ascension wave is going to stop? I mean, give us a big picture of like how you see it unfolding and happening in the world.
Yeah, well, I can tell you what I'm hearing from everyone. Obviously, it's been going on for a while. This has been opening up. The 60s was kind of a big explosion, was kind of one of the first awakenings where a lot of us who were called kind of woke up and said, oh, we're here to transform the world. So that was kind of the beginning of it. And then 2020, I mean, that was amazing. Astrologically, all the ascension teachers were saying there's going to be some big shifts on the planet to support the ascension. and look what happened. We had the pandemic. And what, on one level, it created a mass spiritual retreat for everyone, whether they wanted it or not, because they had to be at home, they had to look in the mirror, they had to look at their relationships, they had to look at their life and really take account, which is part of the ascension process. If you're all busy doing, and you're not going within, that's not part of it. So everyone's gone through that. And then, of course, everything has come up to the surface. Everything's being revealed now. So we are in the quickening and we are in the purification process. So I would say, in terms of the ascension tips, massively, we're in the transmutation process where everything is starting to transform on all levels on the planet. And then this inspires everyone here. And then we're going into the embodiment process, which is happening. And what I hear from a lot of people, like in the next 10 years, massive, massive change. And potentially within that time, there's going to be a massive inspiration. Like some people call it a solar flash. It might just be the quickening of so many people awakening that it reaches a critical mass. But something's going to continue to happen, to continue to shift. And those of us that are here that are for the organic ascension of Mother Earth, which is what we're talking about, which is the organic internal ascension as we align with Mother Earth as she's ascending, I believe are going together to continue to create the new Earth that we came here to create. There are those other ones that may not choose to go that way, that are different type of agendas, but I know that with all the ascension teachers that I'm talking about, it's like in the next 10 years, there's going to be quickening, and then again, another huge shift into the levels that we're going to, which is towards fifth dimensional oneness consciousness.
That's something I'm really interested in. What does the world look like when we follow your ascension tips and the world goes into fifth dimensional oneness? How will that be a whole different planet? What does it look like to you?
I know, that was really fun to come up with, because when I created the ascension tips, this was the next edited version. I created one right before the pandemic, which was wonderful. And then just recently I said, there's got to be a new version. So much information is out. So much has come down. And then I thought, we've got to describe the new Earth. We're all talking about it. Well, what is the new Earth? And so I went in and tuned in on my own to see what it would be. And then it's interesting as I wrote this, because all of a sudden then there'd be a YouTube presentation describing what I'd been thinking about. So I'd had confirmations from the universe. And then also, I don't rely on just my own downloads. I had several ascension teachers look at this, edit it, and confirm it. So this is part number 4, which is what you're asking about, which is the divine human in the new Earth.
Yes.
And so this is preview of coming attractions. So what it's going to be like is we are going to be existing in the consciousness that we are aspiring to now. So most people are going to be existing in what we call the 5D consciousness, which is where everything's connected. It's really the love frequency. It's when you operate with love. It's not duality. It is oneness. And it is Christ consciousness. It is what we as humans are aspiring to now. But this is going to be the state of the being of the world. And there are other universes, other planets, that exist in this consciousness. This is like nothing new. This is an evolution that we're going to. And possibly the Earth did have this consciousness beforehand and descended, as we've kind of all heard those stories. So we were going to live in oneness, fifth dimensional consciousness in our being.
That actually look day to day. I mean, what would be different in our day-to-day relationship? Will there be no money? Will there be?
Yeah, I've got 22 points here. Okay, so our body's going to be in a much less dense form and a much higher vibration. So it's not going to be as physical. It'll be we will have some physicality, but it'll be a little bit more amorphous, and we won't be kind of eating as densely, but it'll be more lighter and higher vibration. And we're going to have access to all our memories from past life, future lives, and alternative lives. Don't you think it's kind of weird that we show up here, we don't know who we are, where we came from, what we're doing, we're just making it up. But there's got to be a history there, right? And we'll go to some psychics and they'll go, oh, well, you were this and you were that. Well, in the fifth dimensional consciousness, we're not going to have those veils. So we're going to have access to all that as a part of how we operate. It's not going to be something we have to figure out.
Right. I mean,
Okay.
some people, though, I mean, it is for me. I mean, don't you feel you have access to your past lives and all that?
Yeah, but you've worked on it. It is not the normal human. So you're on your ascension path. So you're starting to bring that in and work on that. The other thing I've been told is that we can instantly manifest. So it's, now we have to kind of like intend and put it out there, and then it kind of shows up. So we're learning how to manifest now. But in the fifth dimensional consciousness, we can think and manifest. So, and you can see that with the awakened gurus, how they can just manifest things. So it's going to be like that. So you got to be clear on what you want. You have to be obviously a more conscious being, because you can't be manifesting out of, dysfunction.
Right. But I'm thinking about all the people out there who have no idea what we're talking about. I mean, and some people that do, because they're so in the old paradigm. Will they wake up one night, or will they say, oh,
Yeah, people are waking up all the time. I witness that in my own world, because I've been involved in communities for a long, long time. I produced the Harmony Festival, which isn't so much the Ascension community, but it is all the same. And as I go back to them and share my Ascension tips, they have an interest. They go, what? That sounds really interesting. So everyone's on their own timeline and their own path. And yes, everyone's going to open up to this. So should I continue on with the new earth?
Yes, please, because that's in a way the most exciting part, to live in.
Okay. So we are not just going to have multidimensionality as a concept that we have to learn about. We are going to easily see, witness, and experience and live in multidimensionality. So that will be a part of our world, and we'll be able to communicate and receive from higher dimensions and communicate with all kinds of other beings. Also, the process of time. We're going to get the idea, understand, and function that time is not linear, and experience that all time exists simultaneously. Now, we've all been told this, and we all kind of have this concept as you study metaphysics and spirituality, but that is truly how we're going to be able to function in the fifth dimension. We're not going to be limited to linear time. We're going to be able to function in spiral time and in all levels of time.
What does that mean exactly, a spiral time? I mean, what do you mean?
How we can access time at different levels. Okay. And how we can, like, I know some people who are huge manifestors, and they just manifest tremendously. And they kind of, I ask them how they do it, and they say, well, I kind of bend time. So I can't give you exactly how it's going to be like, because I don't fully understand it yet. I just know that's a big part of what will shift for us.
Right, but let's keep going, because we did embodiment, we did awaken, transmutation, new earth, another part in there, right?
Well, you've asked me to go over the new earth, so
yeah, let's keep on with it. Yeah.
Okay, so we can communicate telepathically. So we're not going to have to rely on voices. We'll be able to just send information. And Alan, if you think about your galactic friends, I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about. This is already known and dealt with, because they live at these higher dimensional levels. So
galactics fit into all this, because we worked with the galactics recently.
Yeah.
about how this other level of being fits into our planetary ascension.
Yes. Also, we're going to honor our children as true evolutionary leaders. And we're starting to do that now. We're starting to realize that the children are coming in now are highly advanced, and they're here to be the leaders of the new earth. And in the new earth, we are going to honor the children that come in as evolved leaders that can take us to the next level. So instead of thinking they're dumbing down or they're only kids, we're going to revere them as teachers and way showers, as well as the elders, as well as everyone. So we will live in sacred, eco-regenerative, loving communities. So we're not going to live in little white boxes, little picket fence, just a little, just your little nuclear family. We're going to go back into the communities that live in harmony with Mother Earth, kind of more like the indigenous, but with also new technology that's available that can really work with us. We are going to have divinely aligned technologies that support society on the organic timeline. So this is as compared to the transhuman agenda and the AI agenda, because we are not going that direction, but we can, like the galactics, use the higher technologies that are here to support us. And also, money as we know it now is not going to be what's happening. We're not going to have a money system. There will be a whole other system where you will be rewarded by your contributions. And your contributions will be living your divine mission and contributing of service. A lot of functions will be handled, just regular functions of life will be handled. And people will be able to kind of live their passion and live their art. It'll be much more of a kind of like a renaissance of the arts and creativity, and people will learn how to collaborate, which is what we're learning to do now. Collaborate at really high levels to co-create and create so many different things. And so you will be rewarded and you will be taken care of, and you will receive based on what you contribute and who you are, instead of how much money you can put in a bank.
My theory about the new humanity is that it's a flowering of the arts, because once we have all the food and all the energy and all the abundance, what do we do as incarnation? But we create. We are creators. We create as the artists of new realities. And that's what mission really of incarnation is, how to create beauty and art and love and joy and the feeling of emotion. That's what I call the flowering of humanity. So maybe we should go ahead. What else? You have more?
A really important thing that you know very well is we are going to become a member of the galactic community. We're not going to be dumbed down and think we're the best things since sliced bread in the universe. We're going to realize there's a whole universe out there and start to participate with the galactic community in a conscious way as members of the galactic community. So we're going to understand and relate to all the different civilizations and all the different beings that are operating at the levels of the higher functioning like we are, and be totally aware of that.
Yeah, that's really key, because when that happens, that will be a rude awakening for those people not on the same page, but it is happening, it's coming, and we can actually feel that presence here right now. So that's a big part of the nation. What else? I know you have a few more. And then,
well, in every single tip, the main thing that is always in it is love, because love is the bottom line for everything. In the awakening, you've got to achieve self-love and unconditional love. In the transmutation, you've got to really keep that love frequency at all times, no matter what, because that's what shifts everything. If you're having a fight with someone or someone did you wrong, it's kind of like what Jeshua said, turn on the love and have that transmute whatever that negativity is. And again, the embodiment is holding the love frequency at all times with everything. And in the new earth, it's going to be about love, because that's the frequency, that's currency that's going to be operating, is the love frequency.
Debra, you do that very well, because I know at times you probably were a little frustrated with some of the work that, that you wanted me to do. And then you kept being in love. It made it so much easier for me to complete and heal and connect, because you've held that frequency of love. And that's why this was successful, because you initiate that, you carry frequency, and you really do. You got that one down. You got that tip. You don't have to work on that tip. That's a good one for you.
And it's for everyone. I mean, it's the most beautiful thing. I mean, some of my best teachers hold the love frequency at all times, and I witness that and I honor that. And it's just amazing. So it's really love, compassion, peace, and harmony is going to be the bottom line of the new earth. And it doesn't mean, I mean, there will be still manifestations and things that we'll learn and deal with, but we just kind of start at that basis and then grow from there. Wouldn't that be great? Instead of start with duality and war and then try to heal from that. We're going to start from love and peace and then manifest beyond that. So
this will happen in the next 20 years. I mean, what's the time frame you give it, basically?
What I'm hearing is there'll be major shifts toward that in the next 10, 20 years. But this is going to last now for another 1,000 years, I hear. So we're going into a cycle of the golden age where we're going to exist more at this level. We've been in a really down cycle in the past ages, where, I mean, there's all kinds of information as to why and how, and you can listen to all of Alan's other programs to understand that. But what we're going into is the golden age. So we are going to be that. So either we'll keep these bodies and keep regenerate them and hang out, or you can pass on and come and join again in another body and come back if you choose to come back here now that things are going to turn around. But yes, all the teachers say, and the religions say, that we are going towards a golden age now in our cycle, universal cycle that is going to last for a good amount of time.
Golden age, we are actually entering the Aquarian age, is what you describe, and it really seems very Aquarian. The planetary ascension, it's more for the group, not the personal. It's more for the higher levels of love. It's more for using technology, like you said, to help us live more comfortably. We can control technology instead of technology controlling us. That's the problem people have with AI. They think AI is going to take over. Well, not if we have, a sense of self. We need, well, we don't need, but we have these machines as tools and not to control us. So that's something to remember. So let's give a little more and then tell people how to download the book, because I think everyone should have this book, and you're also going to be appearing at lots of conferences coming up the next year. I'm really excited about how our paths will intersect over the next 6 months. And,
yeah, so definitely this is 88 tips, and we went a little bit into awakening, a little bit into transmutation. The next stage after that is embodiment, and that's where you really embody everything. You start to open up psychically, you start to engage your superhuman powers, you start to activate your DNA, you start to learn how to work with your light body and Merkaba Taurus, and you start to learn how to function in fifth dimensional level by putting this all into practice. And then the one that we just went through is the divine human and the new earth, kind of pointing to what it might look like. And as I do the next version of it, I know there's going to be a part 2 of the new earth, because we're all going to get information more about what's coming around that, or how to put that into place. This booklet is an evolving project. So I'm taking feedback and information from all the teachers. And then the next time I publish it next year, it's going to have more information. And I'm also going to have articles of the top Ascension teachers, so that's where you can download there at ascensionnow.org. And then we'll keep you in touch with these kind of teachings that are available now, and give you access to all the teachers that are teaching. There's some incredible people. Meg Benedicte is one of the top Ascension teachers that is around. I started connecting with her about 20 years ago. She's actually a walk-in that came in specifically for the purpose of teaching of ascension. Camille Moritz is an incredible ascension guide. She's actually my personal guide that I work with every 2 to 3 weeks because to be focused and clear and do as much manifestation as I did, it's really important to work with coaches and guides to keep on track. So it's free as a download. We even have a print book that you can purchase if you want that. But you just go to ascensionnow.org, ascensionnow.org, and you can download it. And then we'll keep in touch with you with all kinds of other things that can help inform you. Also, Meg and I are going to do a workshop in 2023. So you'll be informed about that.
Really appreciate the work you've done with this, hardcore study because you're passionate. One thing I think we can add is that this is really fun. This is a fun life. This is a joyful life. This is not work. This is what we've incarnated for, which is the expansion of our pleasure, expansion of our consciousness in fun, in love, in possibility. And Debra, you've done a fantastic job. I can't think of a better Christmas gift than the Ascension tips.
And that's one of the tips, Alan, is don't be too serious. Have fun. Because this is getting into the bliss, joy, reality is what we're talking about.
Okay. But I think, should we go? You want to wrap up? Any words of wisdom to leave us? Like one really big final tip that you want everyone to know here is?
Yeah, just everyone watching is in this process. And you're really lucky to be here now. I've been told by my teachers that so many people wanted into Earth at this time, and you got chosen, you got in. So be grateful you're here. Be aware. Use these tips as guides, and let your higher self guide you on this magical mystery tour that's here for us.
Thank you, Debra. Thank you for hard work. Go and get the booklet online. I think it's really worth it. And I'll do more programs with Debra because she is dedicated to lifting the planet. As someone in the chat says, we all have to put the negative subconscious ego thought program and misinterpretations and recycle it into mindfulness. So that's great. And go to ascensionnow.org to get your free download. And then let's do another show and write in. And Debra will be on this program and at the Conscious Life Expo. She'll be in the Ascension retreat in Sedona with me. She'll be on a cruise, I think, about that in April. So Debra, thank you for everything. And Alan Steinfeld with Debra Giusti, and always good to work with you. And subscribe to this channel.